right, guys. Well, here we are. It is 7 in the morning, and today is the last day of the month. So I did promise the finale to 4th of July, which I don't know if it would make an entire video. So I'm just going to get that out of the way right now. I'm going to finish the psychedelic that I started on the $10, and then I'm going to do an origin story. And I'm going to try to do the Sex Files Doom Marriage Resex series. So that's a lot of shit that I need to do today. Last couple days have been really busy. I did a pretty long monologue for the $10 tier. I am so fucking tired, but you know, the last 2-3 days have been good. They've just been really, really busy. I'm getting our new place. We find out today if that's actually going down or not. If it's not, we'll just stay here, I guess, until we can figure out a new situation. Landlord's cool with that. I finally got Paul's eulogy, which will go in the documentary, and I'm going to put that on the $20 tier. Got a couple other little surprises that I want to throw up on that tier. I know that, you know, I covered a lot of this shit in the $10 monologue, so I'm not going to go into too much. I've been up all night, and the reason being, and this is pretty much what I explained in the other monologue. I'm not even depressed right now. I'm just so tired, but I realized the importance of like sticking to my plan today. Like, I can't do anything but that. Even if we find out we have to move, right? Because my landlord like wants to prorate it, so I don't want to pay for extra days if I don't have to. If I can move out of here on the 1st, I'm going to. So we would have to pack everything over the next couple days. But the reason I was up all night tonight, so don't think my lack of humor is that I got butt fucked so hard I barfed on my phone. Now it doesn't work. Now I can't. What do you mean jokes? Can't even see the screen. As I explained, very brief cliff notes on this. The documentary, we got a final date today, September 16th. It will be done. Lucas, I went over to his house today, and we had a conversation in person. We're on good terms. We're laughing. I love Lucas. He's my friend. But he's doing 2 other films right now, and he's stepping down as director. He's still going to be a writer, producer, and editor on the film, but he's not going to be free until the end of October. So it would have just kept getting pushed back and pushed back and pushed back. And back to the matter is I have a second baby coming. People have invested money in this. Jose has invested a shitload of money in this. People just want to get to the finish line. We have 2 more days of shooting. So Seth Ferrante has taken over as director, and he's pretty much family to me. Everybody's on good terms. Lucas, Seth, Jim, everybody that was involved is still going to be working on it. Avery being the editor, Seth the director, me, Lucas, Seth, Jim Oles, the writer, Chris Hanley, Will De Los Santos producers. Sinister's going to do some artwork for it. And Chester Bennington's son Draven's going to play me in the reenactments. 2 more days of shooting. We're done. And then there's going to be 4 cuts before September 16th. And that's the deadline. That's when it's done. Done. After 4 years. And you know what? With Seth, I am confident because he did 21 years in prison. He will fucking stab me if we don't do it on time. I just feel confident it's actually going to get done. And this is the thing. All night tonight, I was up getting all the stuff prepared for Seth. It is a lot of shit. It is way more work than you would think. To go through the outline, I had to update things based on what was done in the new cut. Even though I haven't even seen it, this was just based on notes. I woke Karina up. I was like, you want to fuck? She's like, I'm nauseous. I was like, you're on some feminist shit? She's like, fine. And then no, I didn't make her have sex with me when she was sick. But I was up all night doing the documentary stuff. And I've done videos, I think maybe 2-3 times at this time of night or morning where I'm like delirious. But that's why it's perfect to do this one. I'm going to try to get 3 or 4 hours of sleep after the epilogue for this video. I know a bunch of people were pissed that I was at the charity thing last night at the art show. As I explained in the monologue, a lot of that is just keeping my relationship afloat. You know, Karina, one of the big problems is that she felt like she was basically like entrapped in the house. She's like, I have to stay home and be a mom, and you get to go out and pretend like you know famous people. I'm like, oh, you can come out and do that with me too. So now she does that with me too. I'm like, should I wear the mime face paint? She's like, you wore that last time we went out. Oh my God, is my landlord doing landscaping now? With the, I go outside. Oh my God, no. I hope he's not doing that. That would destroy the video. My toilet is backed up right now. It smells like straight shit. Oh my God. Paisa Chainsaw Massacre. I can't even do a video outside, or the sound quality will be so ruined. So here I am. I'm back. All right, guys, let's get into the story. This one, I could probably stretch this out into an entire video, but I don't think that's necessary. I think I'm just going to get to the point. Tell you how the story ends, and then tell you how it really ends after an update, after time has gone by. And then I will do psychedelic, and I will do the $20 tier video, finish the Doom Marriage Resex video, and then I will finish with Origins. That's like more than 3 videos in a day, but I'm planning on making August the month where I have to. I have a second kid coming. If I don't, I'm gonna start prostituting myself. I don't even know how I would start doing that. And just dress up like a construction worker and go hang out at country clubs. I'm like, hey, I do plumbing, I do roofing, I suck dick. Some guy like in an Indian outfit and a police outfit's like, yo, what about we start a music group together? Dude, fucking landlord. It's like 7 in the morning right now too. How rude. I'm gonna tell him. Look, in prison if you don't know another race, like if you don't know their name, if it's like a Paisa, you're like, Paisa. If it's a Wood, you're like, Wood. Well, I guess if you're already a Wood, you don't really say that to another Wood. That would be weird. It's like the lesbian sex of prison etiquette. Dude, what is going on with my fucking phone? Hold on. I'm so tired right now. Jesus Christ. All right. Hold on. Let me close this. I know the dogs are going to start scratching the door that I just paid to get painted and fixed. That's probably not a good thing. But I'm going to try to do 3 videos in a day. I'm just going to force it. I don't even care. Right now I'm so fucking tired, but I'm still, I had to get the doc stuff. This week is going to be insane. Moving, I think, hopefully. Sinister and I are having a joint birthday party on Tuesday night's my birthday, and then Wednesday's his. So we're gonna go out on one of the financiers for my doc. He's got a yacht. We're gonna go out for that, and I'll film all that because it's Sinister. We'll just say, I'll be like, a couple hot tan guys, and people will be like, this is getting old, guys. But yeah, that's what we're doing. And then we're filming. We're filming this week. with Draven, Chester's son, who's going to be playing me in the reenactments. Okay, we're at 10 minutes. Let's get into the story. I'll try to make it an hour, but if it's like, if I have to stretch it out and if we're sacrificing quality, then we'll just call it quits. At this point, when I was in Manhattan, I was at, I think, like a swap meet or something. I guess that's what you would call it. There's like a bunch of people. Remember, like, I went up and there was some Jamaican guy and he's like, gave me this weird, like, shake of the head that I remember to this day. And by this is 4th of July. We're on the actual 4th of July date at this point. So it's 4th of July. And I had befriended some extremely fat chick that I probably would have fucked for shelter if it had come to that. I considered it. I was like, would I fuck her? She has chin hair. I'll fuck her. Who cares? Sup? She used to think. She had that look. She looked like she was like always eating invisible ass. You know what I'm talking about? You know, some fat people do that. They're like, why are you looking like that? It's like, you're already fat. Why are you making it weirder? The fuck is going on? I think she knew something. So I had called Val, who I had to call her first, right? I remember calling her first. Eventually I talked to Tony. See, this is like one of those stories that took place when I was 19. So I'm like trying to remember exactly how it went down. But what I remember, how the contact was first established, I tried to call her, but she was like in a really loud place. She was like in some bar or something. And she's like, yeah, call me back. I was like, oh yeah. I'm just getting bullied by some people in a fucking straight heroin addict slaughterhouse. They're giving me niacin and like telling me it's dope, and I'm getting dope sicker by being here. I felt like I was in some fucked up Roman Polanski movie or something. It was some weird shit. So I go to kill, I need to kill time, right? I go sit on this curb and I run into the cop the first day that I was trying to score there. And somebody told me that they were giving me heroin and a pill, but I think it was Subutex or naloxone or something before that was even a thing. I told the cop. I was like, dude, the gay punk rock guy is like trying to kill me with fake drugs. He's like, hey, you fucking weirdo. He didn't do anything. Now he sees me in the same condition. God, why does my fucking... I've never had this problem. I really hope my landlord stops Pice at Chainsaw Massacring outside, because I really want to go outside. It's hot. I feel like when I'm walking, it helps me more right now. It's kind of like how like stand-up comedians pace. I'm a pacer. Like if I'm boning my chick and like we have to like do a new position, I'm like, whoa, let me pace back and forth in the room and think about what we're gonna do. I got it. Reverse cowgirl. What's up? She's like, put the my makeup off. It's fucking weirding me out again. Oh yeah, we talked about this in therapy. I'm not supposed to use that misogynistic voice. We never even have sex. All right, so back to the story. This cop runs into me and I'm puking. At this point, you have to realize I had probably been dope sick. There was one time where I got well, at least like in my mind. But it kind of like restarted it. I don't think these guys ever gave me heroin. If I had to guess what they had given me, because I never find out, I think they probably crushed up like a oxycodone or something. There was just like a little bit of opiate left. There's like a little bit of opioid in there that made me feel like somewhat better, but it like restarted the clock. So basically I'd been in dope sick psychosis for like, I don't know. I don't even know how long it had been. Probably like 4 days or however long it was. I don't even know. Like those nights were so weird with everything that had happened there. The pizza guy with the blood, the bathtub, the naked biker guy that was naked, but then he'd have some attitude like I was the dude that was like out of line. Oh, you gonna talk about me like that in my fucking home? This guy didn't even live there. I was like, wait, what? Couldn't figure out what was going on. So when this cop is talking to me, he's like, and what exactly are you doing right here? There's literally acidic bile all over me. It looks like it's like the slime from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but yellow. It's like this puddle of it. It's just like dispersed around me. It's like making some pool. And I tried to like explain my situation to him, which is probably the worst thing that I could have possibly done. I was like, look, I was like, man. He's like, it's Officer Deckerson or some shit. It's Officer Deckerson. I was like, Officer Deckerson. Hey, did you say Dick? And I was like, Officer Deckerson. Listen, I'm from California. He's like, I fucking know where you're from. You told me last time you're a fucking little twerp. You know, all these guys always talk shit. You tell them you're from California, they instantly think butt fuck. There's like a butt fuck connotation with California people when you're on the East Coast. Or they think you're a surfer. Or they think you're a gay surfer. They think you surf and butt fuck and like do both things simultaneously. What do you do some sort of hang 10 where you butt fuck on the tip of the board? I bet you do shit like that, you fucking nut rider. I was like, you don't understand. I came out here because I was with these girls, right? And I was supposed to stay with them, but then I got kicked out of their apartment. I'm telling him, why'd you get kicked out of the apartment? I was like, honestly, I think that they were just really attracted to me both, and it was creating problems. I'm saying this like much more calmly than I'm like, I don't know if you've ever been dope sick around law enforcement or around like your parents or girlfriend or like someone you're not supposed to be strung out around, and you're like desperately fighting to not puke. So it like kind of handicaps your voice a bit. You like stop every few seconds and gulp. I'm like, and then I get to this house. I was with this model. He was a dude. He's like, oh yeah, that sounds about right. All right. This dude's on a horse as I'm talking to him. I'm like, and then he's with this guy, Will, that says that he's in a gang, but his name's Spider. But then I don't know, it was weird. There was like blood in a bathtub, and there was, you know, some pizza guy with blood, and there was a guy that was naked, but he looked like maybe he rode Harleys too. He's like, are you on fucking dope? I was like, no, that's the whole thing. I wanted to be. I'm going to be honest with you. Gulp. I'm like, I wanted to be, but I think they were giving me niacin. Do you know what niacin is? He's like, what the fuck is niacin? Is that some sort of club drug? I'm like, no. I don't know what it's for, but you take it when you're trying to beat drug tests. He's like, how the fuck would you know that? I was like, look. The point is I was abducted into some sort of like horror house. And these guys, they were trying to hurt me. The naked guy stood in the door frame. He just stares at me. Like, it's one of those things where it's like made me feel awkward. It's like 20 seconds. Gets off his horse. He's like, how fucked up are you on drugs right now? What the kind of weird ass shit are you talking about? Fucking weird ass Cal. What are you from? Fucking Frisco? You from San Francisco? You fucking queer? I'm like, God, all you guys are the same. I'm like, no, man, I'm not on drugs. I'm coming off drugs. I like felt like that was some sort of admission that was like going to get me out of this. You do not tell a cop that. So, all right. Now you've given me the right to fucking search you. Empty your fucking pockets. Empty your pockets. I was like, all right. He's like, slow. I'm like, just trying to get it over with. Some lint falls out. All I had in my pockets was lint and a phone. That's it. This lint falls to the sidewalk. He's like, hey, what the fuck was that? Don't move. He's like, put your hands behind your back and kneel. Kneel on the ground. Now, just this, like, fast motion of doing that made me nauseous. And I'm trying to, like, kind of lower myself slowly, and I puke. But it's, like, not even puke. It's, like, pathetic, puttering, like, the equivalent of like a limp cock puke. It's like, I look up, he has like the same disappointed look that a girl would, like if you're at a party and you like can't get it up. Gets on his fucking walkie-talkie and says cop shit into it. Hey, we got a California gay Peckerwood here. Yeah, we're on 46th and 7th. Whatever he's saying, right? And I'm just like, I know I'm screwed. I know I'm going to jail. I don't even care. Like, at this point, I'm like, take me to jail. Get me out of here. I'm get some dope in jail. There's more of a chance that I'm going to go to Rikers Island or wherever the fuck he's going to take me, and I'm actually going to be able to get something. This is like how junky logic my mind track was at that time. The rest of like the actual events that happened, like right, it's like this little period, it's a little blurry for me. I was like thinking about it before I was doing the video. I didn't watch the last video. I don't even remember where we had stopped recording last time. Pretty sure though that it was at the swap meet and that the cop had just shown up. I'm almost positive that that's where we had left off. But I'm like on my knees. It's sweltering hot. Remember, I'm in the beating ass sun. The fat chick that looks like she's eating an invisible ass, she's like looking at me. Now she's like wiggling her nose in an invisible butthole or something. You know how like fat people that look like that, when they get offended, they start doing some weird wrinkle with their nose, but it's not cute. It's not like the chick from Bewitched or anything. It's like some fuck. You're like, ugh. I don't know if that person wants to have sex with me or eat me. Karina will listen to this. She's like, you're a fattest. You're fucked up. I used to be fat. I can say that. I lost the weight. Yeah, because you were in prison, loser. All right, I gotta stop talking like that. This dude's not... Where did my sunglasses go? God, it's not my day. You guys are like, oh, this is what we waited for, huh? Ryan just completely floundering. Oh. All right, I'm just going to settle for the Marlboro Reds so you don't have to wait. All right, so... Oh, my God. That checks out. Who does that at 7 in the morning? That's so rude. Of course, my toilet's clogged, so now I'm just wafting in my own scent of shit. I'm not a real man. A real man would have plunged the toilet. So, like, around this time, as I'm, like, watching the fat, nose-wiggling chick, and I'm on my knees in this beating hot sun, a couple other cops show up. Now, they show up in a car. They get out. This guy had not cuffed me, by the way. I never got cuffed by him. These other guys that come are way, way, way more of assholes than him. You know? They're like, they see all this vomit all around me, and they came and they parked the car. They go in the trunk. They like get latex gloves just to rub it in. Like, oh, we don't want to get some sort of fucking weird queer communicable California disease. That's like the attitude they had. And I end up getting cuffed by the guys that had shown up, and I get thrown in this police car. I don't even know what I'm being arrested for. They didn't read me my rights, nothing like that. All I remember is that, like, when I got in the back of the car, there was no air conditioning in it at all. And they, like, had their front windows down, but, like, it was one of those kind of cop cars that had, like, plexiglass. So I'm, like, just baking in the back. Dope sick, baking in the back of this cop car. It was horrific. And I remember just being kind of relieved that I got arrested. All of this part of this story, like getting from place A to place B, is kind of confusing. But it's hard to remember, but I know that we were like stuck in traffic. One thing that I do recall about after they arrested me, and they weren't even talking to me. They were listening to like ABBA and shit on the radio. I remember thinking how screwed I was. Because if you remember, the East Coast, for me, during that time period, this is when I was 19 years old, was peppered with different arrest incidences that I had had. I'd been arrested in Worcester. I'd been arrested in New York. The one in New York, that was when I was in Geneva, New York, in upstate New York. My Kate had gone to Hobart and William Smith. And it's a small liberal arts college up in upstate New York. When I got arrested up there, they took me to some sort of substation in Geneva, I think, or maybe in Syracuse or whatever. I think it was in Geneva, though. And I had been charged with some serious shit. Remember, I had to call my dad, and I had to tell him all the different... I had like 7, 8, 9 things. I don't even remember what they all were. But one of them was like assault with intent to do great bodily harm, which was a felony because I broke that guy's nose with a bottle. I was like, oh, my wallet. And I like dove down and grabbed the bottle and threw it at him. And then I accidentally, like all these like big, like, you know, hockey player looking women like tried to like dogpile me. And I was like flailing my elbows and I hit one of them by accident, honestly. And so they pressed charge on me for battery. So I had like all these like straight up dirtbag charges. I guess the battery, though, it didn't specify that it was on a hockey player looking woman. That would have been crazy. Battery on a hockey player. And then like there's like a little parentheses with F to indicate it was a you hit females that look like hockey players. That's what kind of fucking punks are made in California. And I can't explain that shit. Hey, guys, I didn't know I was being dogpiled. What was I supposed to? I was hit from behind, and that's exactly what did happen. But I start really tripping about it. You know, I know that we were in the car for like a long time, and everyone knows when you're kicking dope anyway, you just get completely drenched in sweat. Like you become like a soggy biscuit. You're weak, you have muscle aches, your skin's crawling, feels like you've been wrapped in saran wrap, and there's like a layer of Vaseline or something in between the saran wrap and your arms. You just feel gross. People are probably like, what the fuck? I honestly think that he thinks I'm a drug dealer. So he never sees me leave the house. And like, I'm on my phone. I'm like, yeah, I'm working. He's like uprooting plants and shit. He's like, yeah, all right. He didn't speak English, so he just smiles. But it's that weird Pisces smile where you don't know if it's like perverted or if they think that you're selling crack out of the house. So it could be one of two things. So I really started panicking, thinking that it was up for me. Like it's a wrap, you know, because when my dad bailed me out, we had this talk. I don't know if I ever had talked about it. I might have talked about it in the Kate epilogue. But when I had gotten out of, when he bailed me out, I went back to California. And we consulted with an attorney out there. And the attorney, you know, sometimes when you consult, like my dad back in that time period had a lot more money. He hadn't like blown resources on me going to like, you know, rehabs where I got like Evian water like sprayed in my asshole. They're like, should we change the velocity on the Evian anal pump? And I'm like, nah, nope, don't feel sober quite yet. I'm like, all right. I'm like, call my parents. He's not ready to come home. Anyway, my dad back then, anytime I got in trouble, he would like in that situation, I was supposed to go to court. Like I bailed out and I had a court date. And we went and we got an attorney in California. Now, the particular attorney that we got at that point was from the East Coast. He wasn't from New York. I forget where he was from, like New Hampshire or something. I don't know. He's from some like random East Coast state. And my dad had asked him, like, hey, what happens if Ryan doesn't show up? And the guy was like, kind of still had an East Coast accent, but it was like Californianized. He's like, well, you know, if he doesn't show up, there's about a 50-50 chance that if he gets arrested out here, which he will, he like took his glasses down to like emphasize that I was a complete fuck up. I was just like, shrug. I was like, I know I am. There's about a 50-50 shot that next time he's arrested, that they'll extradite him back to New York. And since he fled the charges, oh, he could be in big trouble. I was like, why do you talk like that? I don't know who he sounds like. I'm so tired, but there's some cartoon character that he taught. I think it's Elmer Fudd. Or you could be in very, very big trouble. That's how he kind of talked. So my dad's kind of a G, you know. My dad had told me when I first started getting in trouble, you know, because his dad was an old school Italian guy. He wasn't in the mob or anything, but he like hung out with mob guys, you know. He's like one of those guys that probably got taxed by like the mob, but he was like cool with them, you know. He was solid. I don't know if you guys know the Lindenberg kidnapping that happened in, I think, 1948, I want to say. There's this huge kidnapping case that had gone down. And there's this, I think it was like an Olympic athlete or something named Lindenberg. I'm sure some of my older audience knows who I'm talking about, but it was a huge thing. I mean, it was like as big as the O.J. Simpson trial was for like our generation. It was like a huge national case that everybody followed. It's probably even more so back then because juicier shit didn't even happen. And like celebrity kids getting kidnapped. Imagine if that happened today. If like, you know, I don't know, Mel Gibson's kid got kidnapped or something, it would be, that's all we would hear about on the news. And that's how it was back then for this particular thing, even more so probably. And my grandfather had been arrested as a suspect. They figured out quickly that like it wasn't him and that they had like arrested the wrong suspect. I think it may have been someone with the same name or something. And my dad's dad had the same name as my dad, Frank Leone. But because of that, because he had gotten arrested, my dad has been to jail too. And I've told him he should come on and do a Frank Friday and talk about that, because he got arrested protesting in the civil rights protests, like in the 50s or whatever. He spent a day or two in jail somewhere in the South. But because my grandfather had been arrested, and because he kind of associated with, like, I guess, wise guys, you know, I don't know much about that world. My dad, when I started getting busted for stuff, even though it was, like, all dirtbag shit, like possession of crack, shit like that, shit that mafia guys would be super pissed off about if their kids got caught with, my dad told me, if you're going to be a criminal, at least be a good one. And I was like, okay, all right, well, can we kind of, like, wind back for a second? Can we just take a second? Because what do you mean by that? My dad said no snitching. And don't get caught. I was like, wait a second. You must not know a lot about crime, because I don't have to snitch if I don't get caught. My dad's like, all right, don't get caught. Then I started getting caught doing shit all the time. Like, racked up like 17 arrests throughout my life. So my dad's attitude when that attorney had told me that was like, don't get caught. All right. And he said, what happens if I never get caught? And the attorney had told my dad that they can throw it out. You know, there's a statute of limitation for anything that's, I think, anything not murder and sex crimes is like 7 years. It's kind of like a credit thing. You just don't pay shit for 7 years and you're good. So now that I got arrested out there, you know, oh yeah, the attorney had told my dad, he said, hey, one thing's for certain. Be very careful about going back to NYC. Anytime you're in New York, whether it be the city or upstate, he gets caught for anything. If he farts wrong and it blows in the wrong direction in the wind, he's going to jail. So my dad had been like adamant about like me not going there. But here I was, not only in New York, but in the back of a police car, handcuffed, checks out. So I remember we were like in traffic, and you know, this part of it, like I said, like from getting arrested up until when I got booked in, little foggy. I just remember that it was like there was no air conditioning and I was like stuck in the back, and because there was that plexiglass kind of like encasing me, it like amplified the heat or whatever. It like was way worse than it would have been if that plexiglass wasn't there, like keeping me like insulated. Finally, we get to some spot. And for those of you that are from New York, I was in Manhattan when I got arrested, and they took me to some office building, police station, but it was like multiple floors, probably like 15 floors or some shit. And it probably took, I don't know, an hour to get there. We pull into a parking garage, and they're still being rough with me. When these guys arrested me the first time, they were super rough with me, right? Roughing me up. I remember, like, you know, sometimes if you get arrested by nice cops, they'll like, hey, like in Santa Barbara, they like wear sandals. They wear like tongs and shit. And they're like, hey, brother, are the cuffs too tight? It's not how they are in New York. They're like, yeah, you fucking quit. You like it? I bet you like that. We'll put a fucking rubber ball in your mouth too, you little bitch. And they're just being really rough, and they put the handcuffs on tight. So when we get to this underground parking garage, I didn't even know where they were taking me. In my mind, I thought I was going to Rikers because that's all I had ever heard about New York. But just like LA, you know, and just like most places, if you're not directly next to a county jail or a lockup facility, a lot of times they take you to a police station first. They took me to some police station. If you're from New York, tell me where this is. It was like a building. It's probably like 15 floors. And take me to this parking garage. When they pull me out of the, I remember when they pulled me out of the car, the nausea had gone away at this point. But now I was dealing with bubble gut, right? Where like, it felt like there were pop rocks crackling off inside of my intestinal tract. In any second, a fart could just shoot out of me like a BB pellet or something. And it's like the kind of thing where you can't have sudden jolts or sudden movements because you will shart. And they're being rough with me. And I remember like really concentrating on not shitting my pants because I had done that before. This is like past the point where I've been in Santa Barbara County Jail and I've been in that white jumpsuit. When I was in the courtroom, I'm pretty sure I've told that story before, and I was like standing at the podium thing at court, like an arraignment hearing, I think for a probation violation, and I shit myself in front of everybody, and it ran down the pant leg of this white jumpsuit, and everybody was making fun of me in the bus, and they had to hose me off. I'm pretty sure I've told that story before. But I had like PTSD from that. I didn't want that to happen to me again. So they take me into some like elevator from the parking structure. I'm not sure exactly which police station or wherever it was, but like I said, it was in a big building. And they like shove me super hard against the wall, and like I couldn't help it. I just fart, right? And it's a nasty one. But it's not wet. It's just like, you're fucking foul. That's what they said to me, verbatim. I was like, so I mean, it's like, you're being rough with me. They're like, you were disgusting. I was like, what am I being arrested for? Don't fucking talk. And they just kept me pushed up against this elevator wall. So we end up getting to the floor that we're going to. There's like this big round I don't know, like receptionist area or whatever, but there's like holding tanks in an L shape. Kind of, I don't know, it kind of looked like the way that a prison unit would be, but just one floor of it. It wasn't like double tiered or anything. And there was like all these people working at desks in this like round, like office area, and the cells lined it. So they put me in a holding tank and they don't uncuff me. And they just slam the door. Now it's bars, right? So it's like, I can like yell or whatever. I was like, hey, are you going to uncuff me? They just walk away. Now there's like women police officers. I don't even know if they were like, actually, they weren't like wearing uniforms or whatever. These were like in office clothes. There were like a bunch of them making phone calls and shit. And I just start yelling. I'm like, hey, what the fuck is wrong with you? Take off my cuffs. I'm like demanding it. Like, who the hell am I to do that? I was scared that I was going to get my name run. They were going to figure out that I was a fugitive from New York, or that I had an open case there. And I wasn't going home for a long time. I mean, my attorney told me that I could possibly do 10 years. I think I've mentioned that before. I was like facing 10 years if those charges had stuck. So I'm yelling and yelling and yelling, and finally a male cop in uniform comes up. He's like, yeah? I was like, dude, can you take my cuffs off? No, I actually said that. He's like, I am not dude. I'm officer such and such. You will address me by officer such and such, or by fucking sir. Do you got that, sir? I was such a little asshole punk ass kid back then. You know, I really wanted my cuffs off. I was like, dude, take my cuffs off. He's like, nah. He's like, and you yell like that again, you're really gonna fucking hate what happens. I was like, dude, I have to shit. Yo, say dude one more time. Say dude one more time. Come on, see what happens. See what happens. Hey, Ricky. And he like yells to some other guy. Hey, what happened to the last guy that kept calling us dude? What happened to him? Yeah, wait, I don't think he's ever going to say dude again, is he? Ah. Yeah. Looking at him, just like, Jesus Christ. So they just left me in this holding tank, cuffed, dope sick, completely covered in sweat. And I had like I said, I had bubble guts going in there. One fart had already slipped out of me. It was like I was some sort of like human junkie whoopee cushion. And thankfully it was dry. But now I really had a shit. Like, it was building up. And you don't have, when you're dope sick, one strange phenomenon is that you lose kind of like the muscle grasp of your stomach. So you can't really hold it. Like if it gets to that point, just imagine that. Imagine the feeling of having to take a shit. But if it gets to a certain point, it just comes out of you. And it's not some polite, like, oops, it just slipped. It's like a violent, it's another sneeze shit, volcanic. Just like I had in Will and Eric's apartment. So I'm tripping, right? I'm in these uncomfortable ass flannel fucking pajama bottoms or whatever. Which, by the way, you shit your pants and something like that, it's a wrap. You're going to get a rash for sure. It's like the worst material. I mean, not that I've ever shit my pants in pajama bottoms, I'm just saying. So I'm like in a kind of a weird position because standing definitely makes the prospect of losing bowel function a higher probability. I can't really sit down because it's the kind of thing where I don't have the muscle strength. Like if I sat down, I probably wouldn't be able to get back up. I'm just thinking of the fat chick with the like invisible like Eskimo kisses to the asshole. Thinking about how she'd be like, fuck. So I'm like sitting there and It's building and building and building. I know it's coming. And finally, I'm just like, fuck, I'm not going to be able to make it anymore. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm not even going to let this one escape me. Like, I'm just going to push. It's their fault. They're going to have to deal with it. Yeah, I'll show them by getting a rash. Fuck them. So I kind of push. And it's just this. And it was crazy because this was like in a busy-ass office. You know, there was a couple other guys in cells, but they were like far from me. Mostly it was just cops like working in the middle of this like round table type office thing. They were like cubicles, but it was like in a round pattern. And I just push. And it just goes. It's like, it's literally sounded like I was blowing bubbles in a bathtub or something. It was so loud. No shit came out, but it was so obnoxiously loud. The cops hear it, a couple, and it's women, right? It's mostly women in the office. And they all just start laughing. They're like, we got a heroin addict. Oh, it's fucking hilarious. This happens all the time. I love my job. I'm like, oh my God, these cops are disgusting. These are sick. These are deplorable human beings. They probably left me cuffed like that for a couple hours, right? I didn't shit my pants. Finally, a new cop comes on that I hadn't seen before. He comes in and he's like, hey, why are you still cuffed? I was like, I don't know. He's, oh, did you mouth off to officer such and such? I was like, I don't know. He's like, all right, man, come on. I'll uncuff you. So I put my hand, I like knew the drill. I like put my hand, I like backed up, put my hands through the bars. He uncuffed me. I was like, hey man, can you tell me what I'm charged with? He's like, you know, I don't know. He's like, I can find out though. Let me make my rounds and I'll let you know. You know, that's generally how jail works. You know, you see a cop, you ask them something. The next time that they walk by, hopefully they remember what your request was. You know, they not all of them do. Some of them are really cool and they'll go out of their way to help you. But this guy didn't know what I was in jail for. About 30 minutes later, so I'm just standing there. I'm uncuffed and there's a metallic toilet in there. So as soon as I get uncuffed, I go to this toilet, take my pants down. Oh yeah, there was like all this like obviously somebody was drunk or something. So there was like all this chunky like lasagna looking vomit like caked to the bowl. And I remember like I tried not to sit on it, but it was just impossible because of like how weak my legs were. So I sat in this like crusty lasagna-esque vomit crust or whatever. And I felt like I was going to have explosive diarrhea, but again, it was just some super loud fart. And I went to go flush the toilet to courtesy flush because I was embarrassed, and the flusher didn't work. So again, the girls heard me and they're all laughing at me and talking shit. Finally, that cop comes back. I didn't even shit. It was all just gas. It was just like gas built up in me, which is kind of amazing. But finally, this cop ends up coming back and he says that I'm in there for disturbing the peace. Or no. It was disorderly conduct. Yeah, disorderly conduct. On the East Coast, it's like different. This is like the second or third time I've been arrested for that out there. They call it something different. It's like disorderly conduct or some shit like that. And cops he's like, look, they're not gonna file. They said you were puking and in the middle of the sidewalk, side of a swap meet. They just want you to sober up. What are you, drunk? You're coming off stuff? What's up? I'd already told the other cop I was coming off heroin, so I just told him, I said, yeah, man, I'm kicking. This guy was a lot nicer to me. He's like, all right, well, you get a phone call. Do you want to go make it right now? And I was like, well, when am I going to get out of here? He's like, when you sober up, probably the morning. I didn't even know what time it was. That's another thing. When you're in jail like that, you totally lose track of time. I was like, what time is it right now? It's like 7 o'clock. It was 7 o'clock at night, which was like incredible that much time had passed. It was like more time than I had even thought. I don't know what time I thought I even got there. Probably like 5 or 6 hours had gone by. I mean, shit just takes forever. They weren't even booking me in. So I still had the right to make a phone call, you know. You can't just like not give you a phone call. So I asked the cop if I could get my cell phone. So I was going to call Valerie back, and he said that that was already in my property and there was no way to get it. I was like, fuck. And I was like, okay, well, that's cool, because I knew my parents' number by heart, and I knew Jeff's number and a couple other important numbers. So anyway, he cuffs me again, takes me to this other room, you know, typical shit at a jail, bails, bonds, advertisements, brochures, business cards everywhere. And I go to make a call to call Jeff. So I'm going to have Jeff call Valerie, three-way call. And it will not let me make a phone call because I can't call long distance, which you run into very rarely in jail. This happened to me maybe in Florida. I think it also happened to me in San Bernardino. But anyway, I think this was the first time it had happened to me. Remember, Mike Virgin, that shit, I don't even think it happened. I think this was the summer before that. This was like closer to Kate and all that stuff. And so anyway, I think this is the first time that I employed this technique, but the next time the cop walked by, I asked him what the area code was. I don't remember what it was, but he gave it to me, and I just started calling random numbers, you know, because I had learned from being a computer hacker when I was a kid, the way war dialers work. If you just do prefixes with the area code, you know, you can figure out like kind of what the patterns are. I like figured out a couple prefixes that worked. I remembered them. I knew the area code and talked to a few people. Just a few people will pick up because they get a collect call from, you know, a jail in New York or whatever, holding station. But it says it's a jail when you call anyway, even though it's just a holding station. And a few people have picked up, I think just out of curiosity. Like, oh my God, I wonder if this is my choma uncle. What up, Unc? Ryan? Who the fuck is Ryan? Sound like a California queer. So, anyway, eventually, I got hung up a few times trying to explain my situation. Finally, I talked to a girl that was probably my age, sweet talked her into making a three-way call to Jeff. She tried to do it. She kept putting it on call waiting, and then she'd come back and she said she couldn't do it. The phone was like blocking it or not allowing it or whatever. So I was like, all right, can you call Jeff and can you tell him to call Valerie and tell Valerie to call Tony and tell Tony that I'm in a bad situation and where I'm located? I like had to repeat this to this girl like several times. She had to write it down. Anyway, eventually I get through. You're only allowed to have like 5-minute calls or whatever. So I had to call this girl back like 2 or 3 times. And remember, all I knew was the area code and prefix. But what I was doing was like, say it's like 805, the prefix is 565. Because of my war dialing like background from computer hacking, the first number I called was 001, was the last 4 digits. So it was like I was able to like know her number by heart right off the bat because I knew the area code and I knew the prefix. So I called her back the last time. She was like writing it down. All right. She's like, you want me to call Jeff, tell Jeff to call Valerie, and tell Valerie to call Tony, and then tell Tony you're where? And like, there was like a cop walking by right at the second, not the nice one. I was like, hey man, where am I? He told me where I was. I don't remember the name of the substation. I was like, what's the address? And he told it to me real quick, and I like couldn't remember it. So I only knew the name of the station that I was at. So I told her, and she's like, okay, I got it. I'm going to call me back in 10 minutes. I was like, all right, perfect. And I was like wondering if she was really going to do it. And I'm sitting there waiting, just trying to like, you know, sit there and pass time. Surprisingly, I didn't beat off at all. I was like too tripping about the fact that they were going to find out about my warrant and I was going to be screwed. So then the nice cop comes back and tells me that my time's up. And they knew I already made a couple calls. I was like, no, man, you don't understand. Like, I'm not from here, so the area code won't work. So I had to, like, cold call somebody, and then that person had to call my friend. My friend had to call someone and then call someone. It's imperative that I call her back. And he was just like, wow, you got a random person to do all that? That's impressive. He's like, yeah, you know, but my sergeant, he's not cool with this. You gotta cuff up, kid. I was like, fuck. I was like begging him. He wouldn't let me. So ends up cuffing me, taking me back to the holding cell. Anyway, I'm at this place for what seems like forever. Finally, 7 a.m. I've been up for so long. Remember, before this point, these guys were like giving me barbiturates every night. And when you're kicking heroin, you're like electrified by withdrawal, so it keeps you up. Because I was so physically exhausted and so dope sick, somehow I got like some sort of sleep. So I like lost track of time. It was like catnip. It's kind of like when you're sleeping in a car and you're not like fully asleep. You can like hear people talking in the background. It was like that kind of shit. Finally, they wake me up. They're like, Leon. Of course, they say my name wrong. Like, all right, man, we're cutting you loose. I was just like, I heard some girl go, the FADA's getting out. I was like, oh my God, how embarrassing. So they let me go. Walk me down to this other floor. We ended up taking the stairs. Like these like fire stairs or some shit. I don't even know, but we didn't take the elevator. We go to this property department downstairs where they like release you. And they never changed me out or anything. I was in my street clothes the whole time, but they like took my, I had like this like elastic band on the bottoms that I was wearing, and they like cut that out. So these things like barely fit me now. They were like falling off of me. I remember that. They let me go, and I walk outside of the police station, definitely not expecting to see anybody. And there's Valerie. This is on July 5th, right? This is the next day after 4th of July. She had like partied her ass off. She was super concerned about me. And she was there. She's like, Ryan. I was like, oh my God, Val, what the fuck? This girl was super cool. She was worried about me. She said she'd been there for like 4 hours already, you know? And I end up I like walk with her. She's like asking me to explain everything. Honestly, I was so physically exhausted. I didn't even feel like talking to her at that point. I was just like, Val, I'm kicking. She's like, oh my God, you're still doing that stupid shit? I'm like, yeah. I was like, I'm in a bad situation. I'm like halfway in and out of consciousness. If you ever kicked, you know what happens. You get so physically exhausted. It's like being up for like multiple days on meth. Your body just starts giving out on you. Oh, shit. There's probably like 10 minutes left in this story. My dad just texted me, and it's super early in the morning. Texted me twice, but I can't see what it says. I just saw his name. There's like 10 minutes left in the story. I'll tell you guys what. Just like wrap up the epilogue, what happens with Valerie and Tony in the opening of the next video, and I'll wrap this up. I'm tired. I have to get some sleep anyway, and I want to call my dad. But today is the day that I tried to do 3 videos in one day. Not even including this one. I'm going to do psychedelics, do marriage sex files, and what's the other one? I'm so tired. Keeps texting me. This is freaking me out. All right, guys. I will check in with you after I get some sleep. Palabra.